Hello. Today we'll be discussing Word 2013 Lesson 4 Paragraph Formatting. Our standard for today will be Standard 3, Master Word Processing Software to create, edit, and publish professional appearing documents. Our essential questions for today include how can you apply a variety of formatting skills into a document, and how can you access and edit documents effectively using editing commands. In today's lesson, we will be learning how to format paragraphs, set line spacing in text and between paragraphs, create and format a bulleted list, create and format a numbered list, create and modify a multi-level list, and set and modify tabs. Our key terms for today include alignment, first line indent, hanging indent, horizontal alignment, indent, leaders, line spacing, negative indent, and vertical alignment. Today we'll be discussing the indents and spacing tab in the paragraph dialog box and on the home tab in the paragraph group. So you see that I have the home tab selected, the paragraph group is here. We'll go over briefly some of the shortcut tabs. This is the bulleted list. This is numbered list. This is multi-level list. This is indent or decrease indent. This button is increase indent. This is your sort. This is your show hide button, and remembering that our show hide button shows our non-printing characters. Left alignment, center alignment, right alignment, justify alignment. This is our line and paragraph spacing button. This is shading, borders, and of course, as always, we have our paragraph dialog box launcher. Setting indents. An indent is a blank space inserted between text and the left or right margin. A first line indent inserts a blank space between the left margin and the first line of the paragraph. A hanging indent, common in legal documents and bibliography page, begins the first full line of text in the paragraph at the left margin. All remaining lines in the paragraph are indented to the left of the margin. A negative indent extends the paragraph to the paragraph text into the left. So we're going to set all of these indents. I'm going to close my paragraph dialog box, and I'm actually going to go File, Close, and close this blank document, and I am going to open up a file from Student Assignments called Books and Beyond. So you should open that file with me. We're going to go to the File tab, Open, and then we're going to navigate to Computer, Browse. We're going to navigate to the desktop, into Student Assignments, into the Dale folder, and remember mine takes me automatically there, so Student Assignments, Dale. From there, we're going to go into Word 2013 Data Files, Lesson 4, and we're going to open up Books and Beyond. Now, once this file opens, you'll notice that it opens in Protected View. We'll need to enable editing. Okay, and we're going to save this into our OneDrive. So go File, Save As, OneDrive Houston County Board of Education. We're going to browse. You will navigate to the Miss Dale folder. I'm going to navigate to my practice files. So you should be into your OneDrive Houston County Board of Education Miss Dale folder. We're going to name this Books and Beyond Practice. Books and Beyond Practice, and hit Save. Now, the next thing you're going to do is make sure that your ruler is showing to acknowledge indents. So we're going to go to the View tab and then make sure the ruler box is checked. Okay. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the Zoom group and we're going to hit page width so that this increases the page so that we can see what we're working on. Now, we're going to select the 4 paragraphs under the acknowledgement heading. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to highlight these 4 paragraphs. Okay, And we're going to make a first line indent. A first line indent, remember, is that it indents the first line of the paragraph by a half of an inch. So we're going to go to the Home tab, Paragraph Dialog box, where it says Indentation. We're going to come down to where it says Special and then hit First Line Indent. It's going to ask us by how much, and typically by default, 0.5 inches or half an inch is shown, and that is typically what a first line indent will have for most documents. Once you set that, you will hit OK. You'll notice that each of the paragraphs, first line is indented by a half of an inch according to the ruler. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to scroll down and go to the introduction section. So I'm in the introduction section. I'm going to highlight the 4 paragraphs under the introduction section. And we're going to give the introduction section a first line indent as well. This way we're going to do it a little bit different. We're not going to go to the paragraph dialog box. I'm going to go up to my ruler and I'm going to use my indentation tabs. I'm going to simply click the top arrow to the half inch mark. So I'm not going to move this bottom half. I only moved the top half over to the half inch mark, giving the same first line indentation to all of our paragraphs. The last way to set a first line indentation is by using the Page Layout tab in the paragraph group. So I'm going to go into my General Performance, Expectation, Guidelines, and I am going to highlight just the first 2 paragraphs here. Okay. I'm going to go to the Page Layout tab. You'll notice that there's a paragraph group. Okay. And then you will notice that there is a dialog box here as well that takes you to the paragraph dialog box. We're going to go down to Special, first line by 0.5, and then we'll hit OK. And that will indent the first line of our paragraphs by 0.5 and give it a first line indentation. The next indentation we're going to learn how to set is a hanging indent. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top of my paper where we have the acknowledgement section. I'm going to select the first 2 paragraphs in the acknowledgement section, and we're going to give them a hanging indent. I'm going to now go to the Home tab, Paragraph Group, Paragraph Dialog Box Launcher. It launches my dialogs box for me. I'm going to go to the Indentation Special drop-down list, and this time I'm going to give it a hanging indent. We're going to, by default, it makes it a 0.5 indentation. And so once we've done that, we'll hit OK. And this time you'll notice a hanging indent has been applied. Now a hanging indent means that the first line of the paragraph will touch the margin. And so in this case it does. The lines preceding the paragraph will be indented underneath by 0.5 inch. So if we click that button, you'll see all of the lines of text hit that 0.5 indentation. You can also set a hanging indent on the ruler. I'm going to highlight the next 2 paragraphs. I'm going to move my first line indentation key on the ruler back to the middle so everything now touches the margin and my indents are met here on the ruler. I'm going to grab a hold of the square on the indent and move it in to a half an inch, and then I'm going to take the first line indentation marker back. So now I have set a hanging indent by the ruler. Next, we're going to learn how to set left and right indentions. So I'm going to scroll down to my Introduction tab here, Introduction section, and I am going to select the 4 paragraphs, and I'm going to simply just move my first line indentation marker back on the ruler, and that will clear out the indentation. We're going to learn how to set a left and right indentation using the shortcut keys. So with the paragraph still selected, I'm going to go up to the Home tab, Paragraph Group, and I'm going to use my increase indent shortcut button. And when you use that, it increases the indent for all paragraphs by default to 0.5. Okay. You also have your decrease indent button. It'll take it right back to the margin. So you can hit increase, and each time you hit increase, you'll notice that it increases the indent by a 0.5 inch. You can also hit your decrease, and it'll decrease your indentation by a 0.5 of an inch back to the margin. Now we're going to learn how to set a negative indent. Negative indents. I'm going to scroll down to where you see an equal opportunity and diversity. So that is going to be our heading. I am going to select both of the paragraphs underneath that heading. And I'm going to launch the paragraph dialog box from my paragraph group on the Home tab. Underneath this special heading here, I am going to select None. Okay. Now, the reason I made sure I had no indentation set is because we're going to inset a negative indentation, which means that indentation will come over here into our margin. So once we make sure that there are no indentions set, I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to actually go to the Page Layout tab to now set my negative indentation. In the left, where you see indent left, I'm going to type in negative 0.5, and you should do this as well. Once you type that in, you're going to hit enter on your keyboard, and when you do, that will take the negative indentation into the margin. So as you can see, here is our margin, here is our negative indentation. Now, to clear out negative indentions, you'll want to simply highlight, and you can highlight the paragraphs. To clear it, you can use your decrease until it comes back to 0. 0 indicates that there is no indentation and the text touches the line on the margin. Or I'm going to undo that and take back my negative indentation. You can go into the paragraph dialog box and clear the indentation that way. And those will take the paragraphs back to the margin line. The next thing we're going to talk about today is changing an alignment. Paragraph alignment refers to how the text is positioned between the document's margins. So how the text is aligned between the left and right margin. By default, text is left aligned at the top of the page. So everything starts from the top, left corner, and works its way down because this is the way that we read. Horizontal alignment refers to how the text is positioned between the left and right margins. There are 4 types of horizontal alignments: left, center, right, and justify. Horizontal alignment can be changed in the paragraph group on the Home tab, and that is where I'm going to go. I'm going to go to the Home tab, paragraph group. Currently, I have left alignment selected for these paragraphs. Notice that they're still highlighted. This is center horizontal alignment, so everything will come from the center and be aligned outward. I have right alignment, so everything will touch the right margin line. And then I have justify. And justify makes text line up to where the first letter of each line is going to touch the left margin, and the last text of each letter is going to touch the right margin. Typically, you'll find this alignment in newsletters, newspapers, magazines. Vertical alignment refers to how text is positioned between the top and bottom margins, or top and bottom of the page. Text can be aligned vertically at the top margin, the center page, or at the bottom of the page, and it also can be justified. Top of the page vertical alignment is the default when launching Word. There are 2 ways to set vertical alignment. The first way, which is the easiest way, and I'm going to hit Control A on my keyboard, and that will select all of the text on the page. The second thing I'm going to do so you can see vertical alignment that you should do along with me is go to the View tab, Zoom Group, and we're going to go to multi-page because this document is 2 pages and I want you to be able to see both pages at the same time. So there are 2 ways to set the vertical alignment. We're going to do that from the Page Layout tab is the first way. The Page Layout tab is we're going to go to the Page Layout tab in the Page Setup group right here. And we are going to go to launch the Page Setup dialog box. In the Page Setup dialog box, you'll notice that we can go to the Layout tab and right here where it says Page Vertical Alignment. It's currently set at the top. This is what it will look like for center. I'm going to change it to center. So you'll notice that everything falls into the center of the document. We're going to go back there, the vertical alignment justified, and hit OK. You'll notice that now everything touches. The whole entire 2 pages are full. I'm going to go back to my Page Setup dialog box and hit bottom and then hit OK. And now everything is aligned from the bottom and leaving space at the top. So we're going to change the vertical alignment of this document back to the top. So I'm going to go Page Layout tab, Page Setup group. We're going to go vertical alignment back to the top because that's the way we read. One of the last few things we're going to talk about today is shading a paragraph. So I'm going to go to the View tab, and you should be following along with me, Page Width, and we're going to shade the equal opportunity and diversity into a color. So to use the shade, we're going to the Home tab. So we're going to the Home tab. We're going to go into the Paragraph group, and we're going to use our shading shortcut button. We're going to shade it a dark red. Now, when we shade things a darker color, you'll notice the font color automatically changes. But if I was to shade it a lighter color, my black font would automatically stay the same. So I'm actually going to shade this dark red, and you'll notice that the shading goes from margin to margin based on paragraph. To remove shading, we would just simply go back to the shading dialog box and hit no color. This concludes our video for Part 1, Lesson 4, Word 2013. You may now begin working on Lesson 4 projects.